Right, welcome to this video on magnetizing secrets. So we're going to look at magnetizing. A lot of people ask me about, do you magnetize your figures, and how do you go about doing it? So I'm just going to run through how to do that. I've got some examples here of some of the miniatures that I have magnetized as well. So the first thing I say is I don't do it to all of the figures that I have. James would magnetize a lot. He would magnetize a lot of his stuff. He loves doing different weapon configurations. And magnetizing can be handy. When new codex is coming out, rules change. Some weapons, they get better, they get worse. It's nice to have that option where you can, also that ability that makes it possible where you can just try out different weapon configurations is a nice thing to have. I don't do too much magnetizing because it can be fiddly and time consuming. But when I get a miniature and I start building it, I think to myself, right, what's the likelihood of me in the future wanting to change the weaponry around, or currently to want to change weapons around, unit build and so on. And then I make a decision based on that. And then also you can use magnetizing to help with the structure of your miniature, keeping doors closed, that kind of thing as well, but you'll see what I mean as we go into that as well. Right, so the first example here, the magnets that I have a good spread of all different kinds of magnets. You'll need different types depending on what you want to do with them. Usually I only use very small magnets, you don't need to get big ones, but there's a nice spread there. I'm going to run through some examples of magnetizing, and that will give you an idea of how you can magnetize your own figures as well, and then I'll explain sort of how to go about it at the model making stage. So an example here, Blood Angel's Assault Terminator Sergeant, and I have used this, I have swapped it around. It's 5 points to give him Thunderhammer Storm Shield, or you can have the 2 Lightning Claws. So I knew that I would want those 2 combinations. So, I mean, the idea of magnetizing is that you magnetize something and people don't even know that it's magnetized. If you can do it that way, then your magnetizing has been a success. And if you look at him, you wouldn't really know that he has been magnetized. The key is that you get a magnet that's strong enough. You don't want stuff dropping off. So you must make sure that you have magnets that are strong enough. I magnetized the arm. I made a cut here just under the arm there. I tried to choose a place where the magnet itself would be hidden so that it won't stand out too much. But I magnetized under the arm here. And then for the shield, I decided to magnetize right up at the shoulder. There's 2 different magnets that I used here. So for this guy, I drilled out a hole with the drill and then just inserted a little magnet into the plastic. So that was probably, let's have a look. See, the thicker the magnet, the more strength and power you'll get. So if you're able to drill into something and insert a magnet in, you can get a stronger magnet in there. I think, let's just have a look here. Yeah, it was one of these. I think this is a 2x1. The sizes are done in millimeters, so 2x1 millimeter I used there. You wouldn't think that's strong enough, but it's, plastic figures, there's not much weight to that. So that worked fine. And then just did the same magnet again, drilled a hole, and then just inserted the magnet there at the arm. Make sure you get it the right way around, otherwise your magnet's going to repulse and it's not going to work if you get it back to front. But that just clips on there and it sticks in fine, and you can see that magnet doesn't go anywhere. And it also means, look, you can adjust your miniature, so you can have your shield up, shield down, just if you. But I'm not too fussed about that. That sits just nice. For this one, I used a different type of magnet here. I mean, I didn't really have to. I could have used the same magnet here, but this one is a very flat and very thin magnet. That is a 0.5 millimeter thickness, so very thin, and then 4 millimeters across. It's quite wide. That's this one here. Very thin magnets, but some nice width to them. These are the magnets that I use to magnetize my Eldar Wave Serpent weapons. You can cut them off, and there's a very, very fine thickness there, so it's hardly noticeable in games. So that's the thickness that I use. One of my favourite magnets, these ones. You stick them in place, you can paint over them. You can see it's chipped off a bit there. You can paint over them and you wouldn't even notice that that is there. You don't want a magnet that's going to be too long and it makes the arm longer. It'd be silly. But a flat one there, and then underneath is a flat one again, and that just lets that sit there. So if I make the decision to change out, I want to drop 5 points, save 5 points in Blood Angel's army, then I just take those off, and then I magnetized up these weapons here. So I drilled out the arm and put the magnet in, and that just goes on there like so, and then magnetized underneath there, and that just tucks in, and there he is, magnetized up. And again, it's finely done so that you wouldn't even know that it's magnetized. Now that just means, you know, if I'm trying out a new Blood Angels force, and I'm playing around with the points, I'm 5 points over, what can I do? Well, I can just, magnetizing, I can just drop out the weaponry there, and then it just adds a bit of flexibility. So how I stick magnets on is just super glue is the best thing to use. So I've got my Galforce 9 hobby glue. I use that because you get a lot inside one bottle for the price. And then to speed things up, I use the an activator. You spray it on and it makes the super glue dry a lot quicker. Instead of you holding the magnet there for ages whilst the super glue dries, you can just spray it and then it dries quicker. So you just drill out your hole, and then you just use the super glue to stick it in. Once it's in place, then just use your activator to set it, and it's as simple as that. Another example of a loadout here is one of the Sanguinary Guard. Here the arm comes off, again hole drilled out, magnet stuck in here and here. I used a thicker magnet this time, a bigger drill bit, and drilled in a bit deeper because there's a bit more weight to this banner. I didn't want it sort of collapsing during games because it's too weak, so I used a stronger magnet, and that just is a nice strong grip to that. But it means I can take the banner off if I don't want to pay. That's quite a big expensive upgrade to have that banner, so if I didn't want it, I can just swap out to the regular weapon. So you'll find the armies that I have, a couple of them are magnetized, and that's about it. Wouldn't really be too fussed. If I think it's unlikely I'm going to swap out, then I'll just build the model solid, but I'll keep the sprues, and if I ever decide to change weapons around, then I can cut into them and do the magnetizing. Shouldn't be a problem. So that's him. I've done some magnetizing on the orcs, especially on the killer cans. A bit of a conundrum with them. So with the killer cans, I wanted missile launchers for the unit. Problem was the kit only came with one. I bought 2 kits. Each one has 3 killer cans, and there's only one missile option for each. That means I could only make two of them out of 6 to have the missiles. So I needed to scratch build some missiles and figure out some way of putting them on. I was also not sure about what weapon configuration I was going to go for if I wanted to swap them out for something else. So magnetizing helped out. I've magnetized both of these. So I've got the original 2. They have the missile configuration on them, but these are extra missiles that I've added to these 2 in particular, and they're just magnetized on here. And I got the missiles from the Orc Knobs kit, and also the Orc Boys, and then just patched it together and glued it up. And again, I used the 0.5 by 4 millimeter magnets because they're so thin. they're so thin that you'd hardly notice them on the figure, and that's the cool thing about them. Tiny little magnet. You can see it balancing up in the air there. See it? It's a brilliant magnet. So fine, and you can cut down along a weapon, and then you can just glue those on, and you'd hardly know they're there. So they're an excellent one to have. So there, and then another magnet just in there. Again, you'd hardly notice it was there, and that just sticks on. And that's just enough. It's only a lightweight upgrade there, and that just sticks on just nice. If I ever decide to change it out for a flamer or whatever, then I can do that. That's one that I built for that one, and then this one, the same again, magnetized, and you wouldn't even notice that they're magnetized. And again, strong enough that it doesn't come off. You'd be surprised at how strong those magnets can be. There are different strengths to magnets, so you can get, when you buy, the best place to buy them, people ask, so where do you get magnets from? I get them from eBay. They're cheap enough on there. And then there is a strength value. You can get high strength ones that are stronger, and they are slightly stronger, you can get them. But generally these little magnets are great. So that's one option that you can use magnets for, so that you can change your weapon loadouts. And as I said, I do that on a few of my units. Not too, I don't do it too much, don't get too carried away. I really try and think about my army and finalise my choice, and it means I don't have to magnetise too much. But sometimes I do like to magnetise certain stuff, and there's no reason why it can't be done in a very subtle way. The other way that I do magnetising, you'll see what I mean here for the Gorkanaut. Now, I was very happy with the loadout here. I wasn't going to go for the other Morkanaut. It was the Gorkanaut that I wanted. So I was happy with all these weapon configurations. I didn't magnetise any of these. But what I found was when I built the model, the doors here would swing open and be loose. And magnetising can really help fix that kind of problem. So you see that I've put magnets just in the void here. See there and there, and then I put them on the inside there and there as well. And that just means that when I shut the doors, they stay together, and those doors don't swing around and are loose. That just clips in there, and that's just enough strength to keep those doors shut, and that solved that annoying problem of helping keeping those doors shut. Another example, I did exactly the same thing with my drop pod. And those of you that use drop pods, you know it can be a problem where your drop pod comes down, where you put it out on the table and the flaps keep on falling down. So I fixed that with some magnets. There's a tiny little magnet just on the tip there, and it's drilled into the plastic, and then just insert the magnet in, paint over the top. And then just where that comes up, there's a magnet at the top here as well. And it's just strong enough so that I don't have that problem with the plastic bits here falling down. And I put magnets all the way around. That was at the building stage, just drilled in all the way around, and then that meant that I could fix these flaps would go up and then stay up. If you have something painted and you want to do the same thing, there's no problem. You just drill it out for your paint job, insert your magnet in, and then just paint over the top. Magnets can have a very shiny surface, so what you can do is once the magnet's inside, just give it a coat of super glue over the top, and that will dry, and then you can actually paint onto the super glue. It's actually quite a good surface to paint onto. It's another little hint and tip that you can do. So magnetising is an option. Don't be afraid of doing it. It can be very, very helpful. It can fix some problems that you have. Physical, difficulties with like the doors coming down here, and the same with the flappy doors on this Gorkanaut, problem solved with magnets. And then also using them for weapon loadouts, you can make things interchangeable. there, and then an example in the case of the kilocans here as well. But that's how I use magnets. As I said, it's not too frequent, but they often help solve problems with miniatures, and then also just giving you that little bit extra choice when you're building your army, and that means you can swap out weapons and do different configurations with them. But that's the video for magnets. In the comments, just leave your comments as to how you use magnets, how effective they can be. Any questions, just let me know, and I'll do the best I can to help you out as well. Thanks for watching. Hope that helps you with your hobby and your model making, and tune in next time.